Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus once again. I got a message for you, and I hope it feeds your hunger, and I hope it helps you to develop into all of those things you've dreamed and those things that you hoped that you would be. Last night when I went to bed, I got on my knees and I prayed. I asked God to show me something that I was missing. As far as I know, I've given it basically everything I've got to be a representative of God. And I'm missing something because it seems to have no effect. And I slept, I tossed and turned, and I got up this morning and I said, Lord, I didn't get it. What is it? Then I thought maybe it's something that I've already written. And then something hit me, say maybe it's something that you already got. So be sincere, and maybe it will reveal itself. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I make this presentation for everybody. And I ask that every last one of you who hear my voice, that you take in and consider the message that I bring to you today. I don't know what it really takes to make a message go viral, but I pray that this will. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I want to admit to you that this is not about me. This is about God and God's love for the human race. You see, the reality of it is, as you've heard me say many times, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are all deceived. We are really living in hell, and the truth of the matter, not one of us, not one human being on the face of the earth, no, let me say about babies, I'm not sure about them, but otherwise, not one of us are worth 50 cents, not worth 50 cents, not worth 2 quarters, 5 dimes, or 50 pennies. And we think that we're all of that. No, my friends, there's only one that's good, and that's God. That is the God who looks at us and sees that amongst ourselves we are not worth the salt in our bread, but that God still loves us. That God loves us because God made us in love, and we are love. We just don't know it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that, again, this is not about me. This is about the love of God. You don't know me. I'm sure many of you have said that to yourselves. In the back of my car, I have a cardboard that's written, and it says, I'm going to make this world a beautiful world, with or without your support. That basically means that I'm going to give it everything I got. And I realize that without your support, it's going nowhere. But I want you to know that I'm serious about it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I recognize where I'm living. I'm living in hell. And I tell you that I'm a child of God and understand God and God's will. And yet, I have tried to speak out to you. I've done whatever I could. I've broken the laws of this country. Laws against you, the people. Because to me, the laws of this country is nothing but a prop to deny God. So I'm not owing any allegiance to this. I just happen to be here, recognizing who I am in a foreign land. And I've done that so that I could go into the courts and document the message that I've been saying to you when I'm not in jail. So you'll know why I did it. So that at one point in time that it might be revealed to you and you might say there was some significance in it. But that doesn't mean that I'm somebody special, ladies and gentlemen. I've gone through pure D hell. Pure D hell. I've sought the office of president. You can't reach out any further than that as far as this nation is concerned. And at the same time, I'm just as corrupt, have been just as corrupt as any of you. And I've done some things to deal with my corruption. You know, some of you get headaches and you take aspirins. Take that medicine. And I've taken that medicine and still do sometimes. But the medicine that was most beneficial to me was smoking weed. Weed allowed me to relax, to calm me down in a world where it seems nobody gives a heck about the other. Yes, I have spent many years smoking weed, and to be honest and tell you the truth, The only reason I don't smoke weed right now is because there's some people that's crying out to God. Please help us, Lord. Please. And I know God is looking all across the earth trying to find an individual that's filled with the Holy Ghost. An individual that's filled with the Spirit of God. The Spirit that says these people matter. These people need my love. They're calling out for my love. Where is a body that I can use? And I'm saying to God, here is one. I got purpose. Because I have purpose, I don't have time to smoke weed. And I want to share something else with you, ladies and gentlemen, about human corruption. Let me give you a point of perspective about this young man that stands before you today to let you know that I'm no different than you. I grew up a young man. And when it comes down to exploitation, when it comes down to boys and men, their conduct, this is not something that just happened out of the blue. Men everywhere, every race, nationality, it doesn't matter. We're brought up the same way. For me, as a young boy, having a girlfriend meant having as many girlfriends as you can get. It didn't mean having a girlfriend and you being true to that girl. What the world does that mean? Every good-looking girl you talk to, every good-looking girl you saw, don't let her be fine. You wanted her to be yours. Let her be mine. And let her be mine didn't mean just walking holding hands with her. It meant kissing on her, trying to have sex with her, every last one of them. That's the way I saw men. That's the way of the world as I saw it. And pretty girls, they had the same things on their minds, trying to attract men who they thought had some class or looked good to them. They didn't mind having sex with them. Some of them didn't. Some of them did. And this is the way you grow up in life. And I say that to say this. Sure, today, even in my marriage lives, I've married, and I said marriage lives because I'm married twice. Being married didn't stop me from looking at beautiful women and wanting to have sex with them and speaking and walking down that path. And if they would allow me, and most of them would, had sex with them, satisfying my sexual desires. I wasn't just doing mine. The girls who had sex with me wanted to have sex with me. They wanted to satisfy themselves. And what was to stop us? We didn't know anything about a power that said you can't do this. You can't say we got a message from going to church that told us this was wrong. Church was nothing but a tradition, something that you did. All of the kids who go to church today, they know they go to church and they hear this preacher talk about this. They hear them read about this and that. But they go back home to people who don't know what that means. And so the kids, they can pick up on this real easily. They're not conforming to that. Somebody says, just bring me a child over here who will accept what we're saying. Well, a kid might be willing to until they find out it's all taught. And then they're right back in the same old boat that each and every last one of us have been in. We talk about Bill Cosby. What Bill Cosby and other guys who haven't even been identified yet, they were just doing those things that were traditional to do. You say Bill Cosby, let me use him for an example, said that he was exploiting women, having sex with them. Well, that was the way men did things back there, especially in show business. The women knew it. Every woman that went in a private spot with Bill Cosby had one thing on their mind, taking advantage of Bill Cosby for some reasons that they had. They went in to exploit Bill Cosby. But it didn't work. They weren't able to get what they thought they were going to get. But Bill Cosby got what he went after. That was the game that was being played. He didn't mean any harm. That's the way he understood it. That was the business. And yes, the women were exploited. But at the same time, they were setting themselves up to exploit those people who exploited them. You know what I mean? You going to mess over somebody and got messed over. And now they're standing up trying to say what Bill Cosby did. And then you, the American public, as blind as a bat, who amongst you can call yourselves any better than Bill Cosby. You might not have done that, but you got your own sins. You got your own crimes that have not been exposed just yet. And when you put Bill Cosby in jail, it is not for punishment. This is evil. This is anger. Evil, anger. Why? Because that's the stuff that we have been made of living in this country. If the system worked according to God's love, none of these things would have had to happen. None of them would have had to happen. And when you say, when I'm talking about that, I can say this, ladies and gentlemen, because I've had my own situations. I have done things and I don't mind telling you about them. I've told, if you check my videos, I've mentioned it over and over again. And yet there are still some things that are somewhat embarrassing that I won't tell you, not because it embarrasses me. You see, I've been forgiven by God. But the other people that's involved might feel funny. They might not want it to happen. So just to protect them, I'll keep silent about it. But if you go digging and bring up some stuff that I haven't shared with you, I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you dig up is just touching the surface. I can take you there. Why? Because I've been free. I've been freed by the Spirit and the love of God. And being free like that, why should I be ashamed of you? You're the same people that's living in hell. You're the same people that don't give a darn about anybody. So why should I be ashamed of what you think about me? No. Free people know the difference between this game that's being played. But I'm not saying these things just to condemn you. This is not about condemnation. I'm saying that there is something bigger than all of us. It's called love. And in love, one of the first things you got to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Kick off that shame that came with it. And after you can forgive yourself, forgive everybody else. All of us are misfits. All of us are nothing but dirty, filthy rags. And right now, we know that this is as apparent as day and night. Right now, our governmental system is as corrupt as it has ever been. It's always been corrupted. From its foundation, it's been corrupted. But right now, we got a demon in the White House. When I say demon, I'm talking about a person who's only thinking about causing pain and suffering to everybody else so that he can have his way. You, the American people, put him in office. And he is not alone. Every one of those Republicans that back him are just as low down and dirty and as evil as Donald Trump. They have no mistake about it. Every last one of them. Even the ones who try to say, well, we don't like it, but they stand up and support his policies. They stand up and support what he does. It's because they are led by the same satanic spirit that Donald Trump is. But I'm not saying this to ask you to punish Donald Trump. No, what I'm saying to you is to recognize what's going on. Now, if there's something in you that's better than Donald Trump, then you stop Donald Trump. Stop him from moving. I'm not talking about punish him. I'm saying stop him. Forgive him for his stupidity. Forgive yourselves for allowing him to be as stupid and effective in our lives as he has been. But at the same time, tell them no. And if you say no, don't say no just because you want to do something different. Say no because you want God to lead us. You want the plan of God to be our direction. We don't want some Democrat. Democrats just like me. Democrats just like you. I don't care if they haven't been exposed yet in their stupidity. They are just like you and I. They don't care about everybody. You ever heard one give an indication that they cared about everybody? And if you did, it was just talk. We're going to have health care for everybody. How in the heck can they say that when they haven't given it any thought about how you're going to achieve these ends? There are people all across this country that's suffering in pain, and they're going out of their minds. They're committing suicide. They are lying and they're cheating and they're stealing, trying to survive in a system that doesn't give a heck about them. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, the stupidity, the ignorance that we display in our daily lives, it has been multiplied millions of times in other countries where people have picked up their bags, picked up their children, running, trying to get away from this hell, asking and praying all the way, is there a God? Is there a God? They're getting on inner tubes, getting on logs, trying to travel across great distances of water, looking for somebody to have an open arm. And they used to come to the borders of the United States and we were trying to pretend like we had some decency and would allow them in. Now the devil has gotten a man to stand up there and say, not here, not here, put up a border. We're going to show you some pain. You haven't seen anything yet. The money that we've been giving you, according to this devil in White House, is that we're going to cut it back. Now, what that means, you want something better? Bow on your knees and pray to Donald Trump. Pray to the Republican Party. Pray to those who will not stand against him. I want you to know, my friends, brothers and sisters, God is not excited with this junk. It seems as if the devil is winning. I'm standing before you today to call you to be facing this stuff, this reality. I don't want you to think you got something going. You ain't got nothing going. You're just as crooked as any nation on the face of the earth. Why? Because you don't have God. You don't have God in your lives. And I want to say to everybody, I'm calling you. I'm saying to you, all of us are misfits. We could go down the toilet and be at home. But in that situation, God still loves us. And God's still calling us to life. God still wants us to reap our dreams. God still wants us to be the light on the hill. Not just for the rest of the world to see, because all human beings will give wattage to that light. And if there are extraterrestrials somewhere, they can see what effect God has been able to manifest here in these human beings on the face of the earth. I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, we need love. We need to eliminate the pain and suffering that we ourselves brought. We were misled by someone who wanted to take away the life that God has given us and feed us death and kill us when we stand up and don't obey. But God is here to protect us. All we got to do is accept God and walk according to God, accept God, and walk according to God's will. What is God's will? That we have no fear. That you can stand up before the judge, stand up before anybody and tell them the truth. There is a justification for everything that you've done, even in your sins. Don't lie about them. I mean, I realize you want to stay out of jail or something like that, but there is a reason. And that reason is your motivation. Your motivation is why you did it. And trying to put you in jail is not going to stop it. And a system that can only offer punishment is a system that is doomed. It is a representative of hell. Now, I might be repeating myself in a lot of things that I'm saying. But like I said, there are people that's hurting in this country. But there's more pain outside of this country. And I'm not asking you to start giving your love outside of this country right away. I'm asking you to express love today in this country. And engage everybody in this country to come together and express their love, the love of the American people outside of our borders. To let them know that it is not us, because we know who we are, and the world know who we are. But we want to exemplify something that the world itself does not know. And that's God. The love of God. We see Satan. We see what Satan is all about. Go to Washington. Look at Trump and the Republicans. And when it wasn't Trump and the Republicans, it was the Democrats and whoever the president was. And they are not alone. All of the secret societies of America, they are all in this together to reap and to cause you pain and suffering for their own ends. Every last one of them, fraternities, sororities, they are all designed to keep you at bay. I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, because every time someone is hungry, that's because the devil is winning. Every time someone goes to the doctor and can't get the best treatment, it's because the devil is running the show. Every time someone goes to the dentist for dental care and can't get it, it's because the devil is running the show. Every time you go to a church and you walk out like you walked in, it's because the devil is running the show. I don't care if you're a Christian or whatever title you might come under. There's one way to God, Oprah Winfrey, and all of those who say there are many ways. You're not going to end up in the same place, going all these different ways. Because there's one way, and that is the way of love. The way of love. And if you walk in a path that has nothing to do with love, you ain't going to end up in the same place. A poor man out here, and you're filthy rich. How in the world can you both end up in the same place? How in the world? I don't care who you're following. You're not going to end up in the same place. If you're racist, a bigot, and you're walking down a path, and how are you going to end up in the same place where people aren't racist and bigots? If you got a religious faith and you think that it is your obligation to go out and kill people in the name of your God, how can you end up in the same place as somebody believes in God to the extent of love and would do nothing to cause pain and suffering to you? How can you end up in the same place? It's impossible. And there, I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, there's one way to God, and that's love. And there is no greater love than when you know the truth, walk by the truth, and die before you give in to evilness. Die before you give in. I'm talking to you, ladies and gentlemen. You might be checking me out tomorrow if I'm still here, trying to identify some evil. I didn't say I was perfect. You aren't perfect. And as good as you might get, you're still not going to be perfect. For those of you who believe in Jesus, who want to call him God, Jesus himself said, according to the scriptures, that he's not good. Only one is good, and that's God. Jesus himself said, out of all of the things you've heard of him doing, in you are greater things than what he did. He's calling on every last one of you to stand up, pull off that lie that you've been fed. The world is hurting, and only God gives a care. And you say you're led by God, and all you're doing is giving the devil rule and control of your life. I couldn't believe it when I heard Donald Trump say the other day that these Central American countries that have been exploited by nations like ourselves, the way Africa has been exploited by nations like ourselves, for the benefit of those who are privileged, while suffering is happening in Africa, while suffering is happening in India, while suffering is happening in Asia, while suffering is happening all over the earth. And who can stand up and say God is against this? And we're not going to go for it anymore. What dictator stands up and say they're going to bring peace and prosperity and so for nothing less? Who? Nobody. No human being on the face of the earth. Only God can do it. But how is God going to do it when you are so piled up with hate, envy, and death? I got my own family outside of the rest of you who would tell you today that I have not been a good dad because I haven't gone and joined into the system to make life easy for them as you have. No, I've turned my back on the system because I know that if I stand up for my kids and not yours, I'm no better than the devil. God is not wound up that way. God is saying if I can do something for my kids, if I take the same action that's led by God, what I do for my kids, it will benefit every last one of you. That's God's love. Love works for all. I got sisters and siblings that go through hell, and I know it. There was a time I wished that I could do something for them. And I put myself in the same bag, so if I can do something for myself, I can do it for everybody else. And I have paid the price, but I haven't gotten a reward beyond what God has done for me. All I can say to you, ladies and gentlemen, I have within me the joy that the world didn't give, and the world can't take it away. When I do those things that's pleasing to God, many of you might laugh and think I'm stupid and ignorant, but I can walk around with my head still up high because I know I'm led by God, the love of God. And when I look at you and see the sickness that you're in, sure, it hurts me. I want to do something about it. But I know that love is the answer. When I run for office in this hellish world, I run for office to glorify God, not to keep your rules and regulations, but to glorify God, to show that your rules and regulations don't mean a darn thing when they're compared to God. Yes, I know the Republicans are mad because I say they are led with bona fide evil. I know Trump is pissed off. They're supposed to be pissed off. Why? Because what I'm saying is true. If it wasn't true, they wouldn't be pissed off. If it wasn't true, they wouldn't be pissed off. What I'm saying about Democrats, and all of these 20-some Democrats saying they can do something for you, don't believe that crap. There's one that can do something for you, and it's a spirit. It is not a person. It's a spirit. And any person that has that spirit within them is good to go. How many of them have told you that they got the Spirit of God inside, burning to love? And how many of you have looked at them and said that they do or don't? None of you. You're just choosing sides. How much hate you got today and who you gonna stand and represent. Wow. I asked God to give me something because all of this preaching, all of the knocking on doors, all of the signs, all of the posts, all of the Instagrams, they've benefited you nothing. And the only glory I can say that God has gotten out of it is my commitment, my obedience. And why do I give myself to God? It's because God is not a belief to me. God showed me. God removed all doubt. And God requires more of me than a believer. Believers are looking for those who call themselves led by the Spirit of God to be an example of God. And for those who really truly are examples of God, they have been killed. And in their death, the hope would have been that these were so committed and they were so connected to God that you would have a yearning to do nothing else but walk according to the dictates, walk according to the path of love that they had shown you, that you would try the Spirit, and those that work, you would keep that, but wouldn't, you trash. But like the cowards we are, like the little blind children we are, we go cuddle up in our holes and establish as much hate as we can, as much animosity as we can, and think that we got something going on. No, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have anything going on. We have just been instruments of evil. We have been servants of Satan. Yes, when I say Donald Trump is a servant of Satan, I'm talking about every last one of us. Donald Trump is just the big mouthpiece. He's the one who's been relegated authority to stand before you and to show you how stupid, how evil, and how weak you really are by accepting all that he does. And even that, and those who don't accept it, you got nothing better. You're just the other side of the coin. I stand here today to tell you that. And my prayer is that the children who go to church, teenagers, you went and you said you were going to stand against the way the guns laws are implemented in this country. You stood up. Did it have an effect? No. Me too. You stood up, but you're standing up for the wrong reasons. You're not standing up for love. And what's that 99%? I don't know who paid you to stand up. 99% of the population who says that this 1% is wrong. And at the end of the day, the 99% is sitting on his rump. And the 1% is turning itself into a 0.5%, while the 99 is now 99.5%. What does that say about you? That say you ain't nothing but a counterfeit. Now just think about it. What if your 99% was real? Now, when your 99% becomes real, you don't have a placard standing up for this concern, and one over here about this concern, and one over here about this concern, and one over here about this concern. No. When you unify yourselves, you throw all of the signs down, and you say 99.5% for 100%. And that means everybody, whatever your problem is going to be fixed. We're not going to settle for any problem to continue. That's love. That's God. And anything else is just P-U-O-D bull. And we all know it. The devil definitely knows it. Busting out laughing at you. Busting out laughing at us. Yeah, I put myself in there with the us. I put myself in there with you. Why? Because I'm still here. Jesus is still here. God Almighty is still here in the middle of this hell with us. Hoping, giving everything. That one moment in time you will wake up and recognize your power that has come from God. The power that is in you, which is God. Every breath you take is God's power. Every step you make is God's power. Why can't you love? Why can't you recognize that? I know ever since you've been here, all you've heard is hate. All you've heard is prejudice and racism and evil. That's all you know. That's all you've ever been given. And so that's all we are. God wants us to admit it. We are nothing but trash unless we can love. And that means loving Donald Trump and all those Republicans and all those Democrats and all of those racists and bigots, but letting them know that might be you, but you ain't got no room here. So you might as well go sit your tail down and get on your knees and see if the devil can help you, and you will find out that the devil cannot stand against God. And when you recognize that, maybe you will change. And until then, there's nothing but gain. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that I have offended you to the extent that you're not angry with me, but you're angry with yourselves. And you will change. That you will ask God to help you change. But be serious. Because the moment that you can be serious and ask God, it has already begun to happen. I love every last one of you. All of the girls that might have thought that I really cared about them and found out that I didn't, I want to apologize. I forgive all of the girls that I thought cared about me and didn't. I forgive you. You know what? Still, you are wonderful, you are loving, you are adorable. But until we change, we're nothing but filthy, filthy rags. And that's all we're going to be able to produce is more filth. I was thinking about it and I'm going to get ready to go. I think about the children. I was once a child. And I think about how we're in church. And we hear all of this stuff, but we never imitate it. We never try to emulate it. We just hear it. And then I think about when you go to these hate rallies, how the children are sitting there listening to all of this hate. And the next thing you know, the children are spewing out as much hate as the adults. And I ask myself, what is the difference? The difference is people who talk about God, they just talk and they come back out and they just become who they always have been. But these guys that filled with hate, they are not just talking hate. They live hate. When they leave home, they go to church talking hate. When they come back home, they're talking hate. And they are exercising hate. I mean, the kids see it. Racism, they see it. Bigotry, they see it. And so it's easy for these kids to do that. Just like I said, when we grew up and we thought that being a man that was progressive was having all the girls, or getting all of the sex, or doing whatever we had to do to say we okay in that. That's what we learned. But there is no one out here led by the Spirit of God. Now, when I say no one, I don't mean to say nobody. Because there are people. If you get on your internet, every now and then you'll run across somebody who is truly connected, especially in that conversation. I don't know what they're doing actively, but their conversation is right on. And even in our communities, there are some people who really are expressing a different act, and they call it love. It's limited, but they call it love. It's because it's what they can do. And you can bet your last money it is permitted to continue because it does not tear down the devil. The devil can put up with it. And as long as you stay in that vein, somewhere down the line, the devil will overcome you. Because you either got to grow or retrogress. So I'm calling all of you ladies and gentlemen, if you heard my voice, you might have to listen to this a second time. It's a little bit longer than I had anticipated. But I hope it has an effect on you, a positive effect. And I hope that you will use it, that you will share it with your friends, with your family, your co-workers. I hope you would do this, not for me, but for you and for everybody else that's absent the love of God in a way that they can see it and rejoice. The peace, the freedom, the prosperity, and the fulfillment of dreams. I'm Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate for God's love. And I'm saying to you right now, bye-bye.